Libertarian Roundup 2016. Part 1.
The Floozies.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is
dumb.
The names have been changed to protect the
dumb.
This is the city. I work here. I'm a cop. It was Tuesday, April 7th. We were working the day watch out of Accident Investigation Division, Hit and Run Felony Unit. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Calfee. My name's Friday. A young woman had been injured. The driver had escaped into the city. We had to try to find him.
Now with text-to-speech and enumeration in Espanol. Now let's go down the list. The planet Earth is approximately 7,920 miles in diameter and has a mass of approximately 6 septillion kilograms or roughly 6 billion trillion tons. The problem is that its human population has grown 50% beyond its biocapacity, which has been doing massive damage to the Earth's local, national, and global economies and environments. The overpopulation problem was solved with voluntary birth control in the modern countries. However, for the last 50 years they have been continually invaded by Slavs from third world countries with the cooperation of scumbags looking for cheap labor and cheap votes, which was the problem back in the 1800s, which eventually brought about the Civil War. The resulting miseries of this have been massive debt slavery from depressed economies, welfare, and hijacked industries from government expansion, billions of animals killed every year to feed the immigrants, and hundreds of millions of acres wasted every year to support their massive ecological footprints. But just like in the slavery era of the 1800s, the perpetrators could care less and would do nothing about it, until a civil war was enacted. In this case, the solutions are simple: strong borders, immigration control, and mass deportation of the illegal aliens, which is nothing more than simple enforcement of existing laws, which the perpetrators of these crimes have refused to perform because they're criminals engaged in these atrocities. What has shocked me is that both so-called ecologists and vegans are brain dead to what's going on, which will only bring more misery to the environment, the people, and the animals as well. Part of this is that big money has paid off media to shut up about these issues, and part of it is that these so-called ecologists and vegans are simply dumbed down and programmed to think in myopic talking points. An ideal president would make proposals to minimize government spending to 10% of what it is today, and that government money would only be spent on defense, which would include border control, which would mean that there would be no need for an IRS for the $20 trillion of public debts incurred. Instead, we have scumbags running our country into the ground while taxing its citizens and enslaving them with debt, while encouraging the invasion of the country with more scumbags. Hillary Clinton is just another scumbag who represents other scumbags who will continue to work to turn the USA into an overcrowded third world shithole, drowning in public debt in which the interest alone would be normally enough to run the country as it was originally intended. Donald Trump is no libertarian genius, but at least his proposals will serve to stop the bleeding so that we may live on to work towards the development of a country that is happier, healthier, and freer, as opposed to a country with higher taxes, more debt, more government slavery, and more debt slavery. Trump has proposed zero taxation for people with incomes less than $25,000 and up to $50,000 for couples, and lower taxes for everyone else as well, to pay for a government that runs much more efficiently and does the work it should, which includes deporting illegal invaders, building a wall and not engaging in unnecessary nonsense like free security and nation building for other countries around the world. Now let's move on to the Floozies. Numero uno. Psychoanalysis of a brain-scrambled Trump-hating raw till 4 and dumber than fuck 24/7 smoothie queen.
And he made these statements about Mexican people as a whole.
When Mexico sends its people, they're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
So basically what he's saying is, every Mexican in the world is a drug addict, or a criminal, or a rapist, but there must be some that are good people.
No, sweetheart. If you weren't so brain-scrambled and incapable of a few Google searches beyond your local liberal Aussie penal colony extension of the Bernie Sanders Commie Party, you would have heard him saying that the USA is overpopulated with third-world losers from other countries that don't share our concerns for a basic quality of life, which includes freedom and a healthy economy and environment. All of which translates to another few billion animals killed to feed these losers and millions of acres wasted on their ecological footprints, combined with thousands of rapes, robberies, and murders, combined with billions blown down rat holes on welfare year after year after year. Just to mention a few.
Another reason why Donald Trump's statement about Mexicans is so horribly erroneous is the fact that California actually used to be part of Mexico. That's why so many Mexican people live in Los Angeles, San Diego, and the Southern California region. And it wasn't until 1848 that it actually became part of the United States. Before that, it was Mexican. Before that, there were Spanish colonial forces in the area, and there were a lot of Europeans trying to govern it. Before that, it was Native American. And that is similar for many other states all over the United States of America. But specifically on the West Coast, Utah, Nevada, Texas, which we now know as Texas, Wyoming, and Nevada all used to be parts of Mexico. So I think the reason that politicians are so strict about borders is because if we start to question why borders are where they are, it begs the question, whose line do we actually on?
To answer your super stupid question, whose line are we on? We're on the planet Earth, you dumb whore. Before the Indians came across the Bering Straits to rape the buffalo, they were in Asia. Maybe we should deport them back to Asia, you moron. Furthermore, what's relevant in all of this is that the environments are protected and we are currently 140 million over biocapacity. So we don't need another 100 million backward idiots stinking up the place to foul the environment, murder people, places, animals, and things, and destroy the economy any more so. Because you're an idiot, you have no grasp of the importance for maintaining our liberties as well as our environment. Flooding the USA with another 100 million illegal immigrants will turn the USA into another third world shithole, like TJ, or Taiwan. The place you go to spread for guys who like to ride bikes and fuck brain scrambled hacks like you. Which we'll get to in some following clips.
Sorry that this needs to be said, but from what he's saying, I do feel the need to say, I have been to California several times. I've stayed with Mexican families. A lot of my friends that I met there are Mexican. They didn't rape me. They weren't drug addicts. They weren't criminals. They are genuinely lovely, nice people, just like the rest of us.
Gee, you've been to California. Well, gee whiz. Do the state a favor and don't come back. It's way overloaded with morons and bimbos like you as it is. More than a few people have been murdered, raped and or robbed in California per day, every day for decades by illegal aliens for the last few decades as a result of this out-of-control border and immigration control problem. Maybe if you were one of them, you wouldn't have that smug, stupid phony grin on your face. Here is a report published from the website, WND.com in 2006. While the military quagmire in Iraq was set to tip the scales of power in the U.S. midterm elections, most Americans have no idea more of their fellow citizens, men, women, and children were murdered this year by illegal aliens than the combined death toll of U.S. troops in Iraq and Afghanistan since those military campaigns began. Though no federal statistics are kept on murders or any other crimes committed by illegal aliens, A number of groups have produced estimates based on data collected from prisons, news reports, and independent research. 12 Americans are murdered every day by illegal aliens, according to statistics released by Representative Steve King, R. Iowa. If those numbers are correct, it translates to 4,380 Americans murdered annually by illegal aliens. That's 21,900 since September 11, 2001. Total U.S. troop deaths in Iraq as of last week were reported at 2,863. Total U.S. troop deaths in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Uzbekistan during the 5 years of the Afghan campaign are currently at 289, according to the Department of Defense. But the carnage wrought by illegal alien murderers represents only a fraction of the pool of blood spilled by American citizens as a result of an open border and unenforced immigration laws. While King reports 12 Americans are murdered daily by illegal aliens, he says 13 are killed by drunk illegal alien drivers for another annual death toll of 4,745. That's 23,725 since September 11, 2001. Since that report was 10 years ago, as of 2006, just add another 50,000 deaths along with all the rapes, robberies, welfare, and general mayhem to the list as of this date of 2016. Now let's watch what happens when you get sexually involved with a mess like this.
Very tie-sized couch, there was almost no room between us. And as he was sitting beside me, I had my hair in a ponytail, and he kind of ran his hand over my hair, said something about it being nice, and it was in that moment that I started to feel uncomfortable. I just started to feel sick. My legs were shaking, so I went to the bathroom, and by the time I came back, he was pretty involved in designing the channel art and stuff, like playing around with it. So we did most of the channel art together, and then as it was sort of ending, he wrote on the computer, "Do you want to kiss me?" I said no, and tried to laugh it off. He asked me again, and I said no again, and shortly after that, I finished the channel art, and he walked me out. Before I left, he asked me again if I was sure if I wanted to leave, and I had friends staying with me at the time, so I said that I had to get back to her. He made a joke about her joining us, and then I left very soon after that. So fast forward to the next day, we messaged a little bit through the day. He was on a bike ride, told me about the bike ride. I showed him what I was doing at school. I was working full-time last year, and then he asked me, well, I said to him, can I send through you what I've done for the ebook cover so far? And he said it would be better to do it in person, so I agreed to meet with him again that night, and the second night was basically the same as the first night. He asked me if I'd thought about what we talked about the night before, and I said yes, I had thought about it, and the answer was still no. But he didn't respect my answer. He kissed me anyway and then started to ask for more. I ended up making excuses. I had a friend in my apartment that I had to get back to. I was in my period. I was uncomfortable with how close it was to break up with Freely, but he didn't listen to my excuses, and he continued to ask me for more. At the time, I looked up to him because he'd always been nice to me, and I saw him as a friend. But in my opinion, this sort of behaviour, especially as a self-proclaimed leader, is inappropriate, particularly when you're in the company of someone who's younger than you and who looks up to you.
We talked more, and then she said the next day, she sent me an email saying, do you want me to come over tonight and we can do some more work? I said, okay, no pressure. So she came over again, and we got it on. She sat in the same little position on the sofa, and we're making out on the sofa, and then HC says, maybe we should go to bed. I said, only if you're comfortable with that. And we went to the bed and progressively had sex. We had sex, and it was adult, consensual sex. She didn't say that in her video, though. She did jump cut after jump cut after jump cut, and she's looking up here, and she's looking up there, and she's probably reading some script. If you have to do jump cuts about something serious, in my opinion, something's suspect. That's just my opinion. Now, again, I don't hate this girl. I understand why she's doing it. We'll get to that in a second. And so we had sex. It was all fun. It was all good. There was no pressure. You know, the next day, I had sore pelvis from her being on top of me, having a good time. Is that too much information? I don't know. But I just want to be 100% transparent and honest. HC had a good time. It was adult consensual sex. There was no pressure. There was none of that at all. And then we hanged out, and maybe she stayed a bit over, so you can stay if you want. She's got a friend staying, I better go back. I wasn't suspicious, I said, no worries, all cool. And I walked her out, and also gave her a bicycle lock and a bicycle pump. She didn't have some girl even came my soon. Do you want my lock? Do you want my pump? She said, no worries. And I walked her out, I hope it's strapped to the bike. I think I fixed the bike for her. But she's saying she's alleging that I raped her or sexually assaulted her. She doesn't need to talk too much in the video. She's letting the viewer come up with the assumptions. And I wasn't going to make a response video for this, because I saw it last night, I had 500 views. Now it's got a lot of views, thousands of views. And there's people that I respect in Chiang Mai who are watching this and go, oh my God, I'm so sorry HC this happened to you. And she's manipulated them that they assume that I've raped her or sexually assaulted when this was 100% consensual adult sex. Let's keep talking a bit about me. I was a virgin until I was 21. I had never, ever...
You know, I've been thinking about it, and I think that Harley and Freely should go to prison. I mean, anyone who shares their opinion and the truth on social media should go to prison.
The suspect was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree.